Hello. This is going to be a spur of the moment deal, but I haven't done any videos, I don't think, not really of my own self in the last 3 days. I lose track because I was making a lot of shorts. But what I decided is that I think I'll go ahead and finish reading that little book of Mormon that's inside the Book of Mormon, okay? This is Mormon's very own book that he put inside the record. And since there's only like a few chapters, I figured maybe, that would be a good place to start. And it's not totally at the end of the book, but there's several books in there, okay? Ether's going to be coming up. And I believe, if my memory serves me right, that Ether, okay, so like I told you about the Lehi and his children came over here, okay? But another group of people came over, built ships and came over here from the other country. I'm not exactly sure where they were, but anyway, they were the Jaredites. And if memory serves me right, I think they came a long time before Lehi and them did, okay? And I think the records were found and brought to whoever had the seer stones at the time. I'm not sure if God took it up to himself or if he just gave it to them in a time when they needed it, because that's a pretty sacred deal. But there is a thing called prophets, seers, and revelators, okay? They're all in one. However, the top-notch guy, it seems to me, and I could be wrong, like in the 12 apostles, and then there's the prophet of the church, the president, the prophet. He might be the one who has. But I don't think that every prophet has that, okay? It's a special deal. It's the Urim and Thummim, the seer stones. To translate, Joseph Smith had them to translate, and they were in the box with the records, okay? A way to translate the records was in there, along with the sword of Laban. And I shouldn't even say what I was about to say. The sword of Laban's pretty important too, because in the beginning of this record, Lehi and his children, they got out into the wilderness heading away because they were told to leave, and then they had to go back and get the records, okay? Because there were brass plates, I think is what they called those. And they dated back to Adam and Eve, so the beginning of our earthly existence, the earthly family of Adam and Eve. I read something once that caught me a little. In other words, when you're reading along in the scriptures, remember I was talking about pondering. If you know how everything works, things can pop up at you. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say, but there was something in there I wanted to tell you guys about, but not everybody would grasp a hold to that. That's what happens when you read the scriptures a lot. And then also knowing the English language, kind of, sort of, but scriptures are different than the English language, and they have a language all their own, meaning sentence structure. Because the thing about, I'm going to scatter. The thing about writing in a journal, the church told us a long time ago we should keep a journal. Well, that's where some of my papers come from, because I would sit down and write, and sometimes I had a purpose in mind, and other times I was just writing. But I do believe in spiritual writing. Maybe that's one of the reasons he told us to keep a journal, because he can talk to us through that too. The Spirit of the Lord is with you if you want him to be. And if you endeavor because it does take endeavoring to learn all this stuff. So if you haven't already done it, then you need a teacher. You need someone who can help you. And in the church, when you go to Sunday school, I mean, every year we take one of the books and study that. And there's a manual that has the lessons in it. And so they take us to the scriptures, and you can read it right there, and it's all broken down for you. So, I mean, it's really good to go to do that. And then they also have classes online too, the Come Follow Me stuff. Myself, I like to get lost in the New Testament. That's where I like. And then I love the Book of Mormon too, because of the fact that the sacred things are in there, okay? They haven't been destroyed. The plain and simple sacred gospel is in there amongst all the other crap, because there's always somebody, usually, sounds like there wasn't during that period of time, you know, like they told Mormon to just keep his mouth shut as far as preaching goes, because it would have fell on deaf ears, and they were so hard-hearted and so tainted by war and survival, trying to survive. I would not want to live there. I wouldn't have wanted to have to go through that, to watch your every step, to have someone be bloodthirsty for you. You know, we got a problem in this country and in the world. We're causing trouble everywhere. We should be spreading love and not war. But the adversary is having his way. But he's not boss. You guys need to remember that. So, you know, you're making a choice. You're making a choice. And I think that's why that choose the right is so important. You know, you can't always make, I mean, it's not like there's just one right and one wrong decision. You know, when you got a decision to make, sometimes there's many rights. You have to just figure out which right, what's going to take you down the path where you want to go. Anyway, when I got on here, my intentions was to read the 4th chapter of the Book of Mormon. I got a hair on there making my nose itch. This war and carnage, I don't know if I can stand it. It doesn't sound good. I read the synopsis just a minute ago. Oh my. But you know, some of you guys might like that. Not that you'd like war and carnage, but it seems like it with those games. You know, everybody's all about war. It's a sad, sad thing, really. Because we're all brothers and sisters, and look what we're doing to each other. You know, this war on drugs, and in every family, you've got each family fighting against each other because of the damn law. And it's all a bunch of baloney. If you guys just knew. And look at what they're doing with it, and what they get away with in the name of drugs. And you know what it is. I mean, I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure. The pharmaceutical companies, dear. You know, just think about it. They are the drug dealers, and they don't want anybody else to have access. They don't want you to have freedom. They want you to buy from them. I heard there's wars over there, some places where the guys are just, they're sitting there guarding poppy fields. I think that's where you get heroin from, okay? But that's also where you get the drugs that the big pharmaceutical companies are using and charging us an arm and a leg for. It's a racket, guys. I wish everybody could just wake up. You know, like the Matrix, we're fed something, and we all believe it. Until you get over on the other side of the world and you see for yourself. And then you hear the stories of the people who have seen for themselves what they're doing. And there they are, stuck doing it because, hey, can't go against the government. I will calm down, but it is wrong. Everything is wrong, and you know who's in charge about that, you know. We have to take charge. Somehow we have to stop what's going on. But in the meantime, you just try to do the best you can with what you got. And remember, God is there. And really, if you were born on this earth, then you know right from wrong. What are you guys doing? Dog come flying out here. Okay. Nevertheless. I'm rambling on, but I'm enjoying it. I need to do that. It's a good outlet. Because I do like to talk. And this way I can not be interrupted, I guess, except for by my own thoughts, because that happens a lot. I'll lose myself in the middle of a sentence. But nevertheless, I don't know that I want to read Mormon 4 tonight. However, I might. But since I've talked so much, maybe I'll come back to that. No, I probably should go ahead and do it. There's only I think there's 23 verses. So if you want to read along, I'll give you a few minutes. Go ahead and get your Gospel Library app open. And then you go to the Book of Mormon. You choose the Book of Mormon, and it'll open up. And then there should be a list of chapters. Not chapters, they're actually books, because inside the books are chapters. So there'll be a list of books. And so then you want to choose Mormon, and it's towards, on the list, it's towards the bottom, okay? But in the book, it's in the back. That's if you actually had the book. And I can go back and see more what I'm talking about, because right now, okay. So inside the Book of Mormon, it's got all those books. So you go down and you find Mormon and you poke it, you tap it, and then that'll open it up. And then you got, which chapter do you want, okay? And right now I'm going to do chapter 4. So I've already done the first 3, and there's 9 total. Now, this is at the end before they're going to hide up these records. Not yet in 4, but Mormon, his book, okay? I think he might have, it would make sense to me that he's already put the records together. And he's doing his own record. And then here pretty soon, I don't know, time is relative. Before it's all said and done, he's going to give those records to Moroni. And Moroni's going to go and write some more, because he stays alive and he's observing, and so he's got his words to say. And then they get hidden up, okay? And then fast forward, I don't know if it was 2,000 years, maybe it was less than 2,000 years, but nevertheless, I'm trying to figure out the time frame of Mormon. I think he must have, if it was at the end, it would be like 400 something AD. So I think the span of the, let's see, I can't say that because the Jaredites, those guys, I don't remember much about those guys, but it was interesting, the ships they made them like saucers. They made them like saucers that went into the ocean and could just be tossed around. The top was just like the bottom, and it was totally dark in there. And they had the miracle of, they tried to figure out what are they going to do for light while they're in there. And so, I don't know, I'm paraphrasing, I don't know all the story, but they gathered up stones. I don't know what, if they were told to do that. I think they might have been, and probably by an angel, but maybe by God himself too. Nevertheless, they were told to gather up the stones, and I think however many ships they had a stone for each one, or at least one stone. I don't know if it was two. I don't know how big they were, but they had to be pretty big. So they might have wanted more than one light, you know. But nevertheless, Jared, I think it has to do with Jared and the brother of Jared. And I think Jared didn't feel like he could pray, and so he would go to his brother. The brother of Jared would pray. You know, go to somebody that, you know, you got it in good with God and the Lord and stuff. You know, will you pray for me, please? Or pray for our people, because they were escaping too. I don't know if they were escaping, but they were leaving that country to go to a new country, but the promised land. It was always the promised land, okay? The land of milk and honey. So maybe the Jaredites. See, this is my thinking process, but I could be wrong. So just remember that, okay? Just figure some of it's fiction. But I think that the Jaredites might have been in South America, you know? Because there was a group that came over, the Jaredites. And then Lehi and his family came over during Jerusalem's time with Jesus and stuff. 600 years before Christ is when Lehi and his family left Jerusalem. Lehi had been preaching, you know, and they were going to come and kill him, and so they got sent away by the angel, told them they better leave. They left all their stuff. Like they were a wealthy family. They had gold and stuff like that. But anyway, they left, and so then they had to come back to get that record. That's what I started to say, and that's where it came from, the sword of Laban. Wow, there's a story there. Okay, and that one is one that can be controversial until a person really understands the significance of it all. I think I'll just leave that alone. We'll talk about that another day. So I'm going to get back to Mormon 4 because I've gotten carried away like normal. That is who I are. Okay, so I read this synopsis. It's not cool. So I'm giving you fair warning, people. If you don't want to hear this stuff, please don't. Now see, I'm not wanting you not to listen, but I don't like what it's going to be telling us. But you know, that's how that goes, right? So we'll just see what happens. So this is Mormon chapter 4. And I should have some water out here, but I don't. Maybe that'll work. I find that pop sometimes just makes it worse because it's syrupy and stuff. I know. Okay, so here is the synopsis. Okay. War and carnage continue. The wicked punish the wicked. Greater wickedness prevails than ever before in all Israel. Women and children are sacrificed to idols. The Lamanites began to sweep the Nephites before them. And this is about AD 363 to 375, okay? So just in that, if I was right about the time frame being 400 and something, then you can see that we're not far away from that. For some reason, I think I said 426, and maybe that is it. Maybe it's stuck in my brain, because I don't remember my conscious brain. My subconscious has a lot of stuff, you know, things that pop right out of my head that I didn't know where that came from. But I'd be thinking about something, and all of a sudden, there it is. So we have these long file cabinets in our brain, you know. I think I saw that on something Almighty, Bruce Almighty, Or the file cabinets, the drawers, just come on out and get the files. Yeah, that's in our brain. Okay, so you can tell by what I said in the synopsis it ain't good. I wish I had water out here. Okay, I'm just going to see how it goes. I might lose my voice. It says, and now it came to pass. Probably should get you up close so you can hear me. And now it came to pass that in the 363rd year, the Nephites did go up with their armies to battle against the Lamanites out of the land desolation. And it came to pass that the armies of the Nephites were driven back again to the land of desolation. And while they were yet weary, there's that word again, weary, a fresh army of Lamanites did come upon them, and they had a sore battle, insomuch that the Lamanites did take possession of the city desolation, and did slay many of the Nephites, and did take many prisoners. And the remainder did flee, and joined the inhabitants of the city Tencum. Now the city of Tencum lay in the borders by the seashore, and it was also near the city desolation. And it was because the armies of the Nephites went up unto the Lamanites. Okay, I'm going to smack you. I'm getting messed with here. They do not know what they're doing. I'm going to have to hurt them. Okay. They're trying to do laser tag with my face here. They're gonna win. I'm getting totally distracted. I think I'm on verse 4. And it was because the armies of the Nephites went up unto the Lamanites that they began to be smitten. For were it not for that, the Lamanites could have had no power over them. But behold, the judgments of God will overtake the wicked, and it is by the wicked that the wicked are punished. For it is the wicked that stir up the hearts of the children of men unto bloodshed. And it came to pass that the Lamanites did make preparations to come against the city Tencum. I'm probably saying it wrong. Tencum, but it'll do, okay. And it came to pass in the 364th year, the Lamanites did come against the city Tencum, that they might take possession of the city of Tencum also. And it came to pass that they were repulsed and driven back by the Nephites. And when the Nephites saw that they had driven the Lamanites, they did again boast of their own strength. And they went forth in their own might and took possession again of the city desolation. And now all these things had been done, and there had been thousands slain on both sides, both Nephites and Lamanites. And it came to pass that the 366th year had passed away, and the Lamanites came again upon the Nephites to battle. And yet the Nephites repented not of the evil they had done, but persisted in their wickedness continually. And it is impossible for the tongue to describe, or for man to write a perfect description of the horrible scene of the blood and carnage which was among the people, both of the Nephites and of the Lamanites, and every heart was hardened, so that they delighted in the shedding of blood continually. And there never had been so great wickedness among all the children of Lehi, nor even among all the house of Israel, according to the words of the Lord, as it was among this people. And it came to pass that the Lamanites did take possession of the city desolation, and this because their number did exceed the number of the Nephites. And they did also march forward against the city of Tencum, and did drive the inhabitants forth out of her, and did take many prisoners, both women and children, and did offer them up as sacrifices unto their idol gods. And it came to pass that in the 367th year, the Nephites being angry, because the Lamanites had sacrificed their women and their children, that they did go against the Lamanites with exceedingly great anger, insomuch that they did beat again the Lamanites and drive them out of their lands. And the Lamanites did not come again against the Nephites until 375th year. So how far was that? Where were we at? 67th. So it looks like they might have had 8 years. If I'm doing my math right, they might have had 8 years without a battle between the two of those guys. Which I already read before, you know, that the Lamanites comprised of Lemuelites and Ishmaelites. I think I'm reading that right. And I'm not reading right now, I'm in my head. Because I was marking that when I read that. Not marking it in my brain. Those ites and lights and stuff. It was getting a little bit annoying. But nevertheless, those were different tribes that were joined together. So the Lamanites was Laman and Lemuel and all their followers, and Ishmaelites. They came over together on the ship from Jerusalem, okay? And so did the Nephites, because Nephites were the ones following Nephi. And I imagine, I can't remember all of the different ones. There was like at least 4 tribes, if not more, that were on the Nephite side. But I mean, wow, before we're done, we're going to just, so many thousands. They just killed to kill, guys. And that was going on these 2 continents. Now, I really don't know about what was going on the South American one, but I mean, we know this was going on here. Think about those mounds, Mound City, that they're pulling out all those bones and skulls from. That's back east, up north. And then just go a little further over in New York, Palmyra. It's where the Hill Cumorah was, where the box was, where the gold plates were in, along with the Urim and Thummim, the seer stones, and some other things. So anyway, I'm just saying, that tells you right there, a lot of bloodshed was going on this continent anyway, or this country. So I still lost about continents. Anyway, so I forget where I was, went to the 75th year. Daphne, come here and be quiet, okay? She says, sure I will. But there's Daphne. All right, I know, I got off the subject. Okay. Let's see, where was I? They sacrificed the women and children to their idol gods. So they were motivated to get revenge, you know, kill them people. Sometimes that's when we get our motivation, is after the fact. It's a little late. It's not late, but you know what I'm saying. If we'd had enough motivation to begin with, you know. But you don't know until you've gone through it. All right, so I think they just loved fighting. All right, I'm just going to start on 16. Okay, so it says, and the Lamanites did not come again against the Nephites until 375th year. And in this year they did come down against the Nephites with all their powers, and they were not numbered because of the greatness of their number. And from this time forth did the Nephites gain no power over the Lamanites, but began to be swept off by them, even as a dew before the sun. So, you know, a dew, you need slivers of water or something. Okay, let's see. Excuse me. And it came to pass that the Lamanites did come down against the city of desolation, and there was an exceedingly sore battle fought in the land desolation, in the which they did beat the Nephites. And they fled again from before them, and they came to the city of Boaz, and there they did stand against the Lamanites with exceeding boldness, insomuch that the Lamanites did not beat them until they had come again the second time. And when they had come the second time, the Nephites were driven and slaughtered with an exceedingly great slaughter. Their women and their children were again sacrificed unto idols. And it came to pass that the Nephites did again flee from before them, taking all the inhabitants with them, both in towns and villages. And now I, Mormon, seeing that the Lamanites were about to overthrow the land, therefore I did go to the hill Shem, and did take up all the records which Amaron had hid up unto the Lord. That is the end of chapter 4. And I do not know what's coming next, except for I know that we're getting real close to, you know, total annihilation. The Lamanites will kill all of the Nephites. And so Mormon's going to give the records to Nephi, or not Nephi, to Moroni. And I'm only going by my memory. I'm not sure if it's my memory or if what I was told. Seems like I was told that Moroni was by himself, waiting to be probably killed at any minute if they find him. You know, all they got to do is find him and he'll be dead. So, but I think it seems like he lasted 40 years before he hit up the record, so he had time to write. So that'll be interesting too, because I haven't, like I said, I haven't read it cover to cover, but I think that's what I need to do. Anyway, I do know, and it's a spoiler alert, spoil alert, what's coming. It's not good. And so goes the way of the world. Be careful, because we don't want to become savages, okay? We need the love. We don't want the hate. So, everybody out there needs to help be peacemakers. And I did hear that. I heard it on The Chosen. Jesus was talking about them being his peacemakers. And it seems like I read it too, but I didn't write it down. I need to have a book on me all the time that I can write in. Like Matthew in The Chosen, he's always got a little tablet where he's recording stuff. And he must be recording it in shorthand, because I don't know how he's recording it. I mean, I have written, and writing longhand, oh my goodness, that takes a lot of room. It takes a lot of room, especially as fast as I was going. I mean, when I used to sit down and write, oh my goodness, that first time that I sat down and didn't know what I was going to write, and Jessica was in kindergarten, she was in school, and I was home, and I sat down to try it out, sat down and wrote in a journal. 22 pages later, going as fast as I could go. And these were big pages, okay? Not with college rule. I mean, yes, college rule is smaller. I was going as fast as I could go. And I stopped myself because I had things to do and probably had to go pick up Jessica or something. I don't know. But I know that it amazed me. I was not expecting that. I had a lot to say. Anyway, pretty cool. So you might want to try that, you know. I know there's reasons for him telling us to keep a journal. There's a lot of reasons. But another reason that I discovered is it helps you to understand the scriptures a little better. Because like the 22 pages of going as fast as I could go, I was skimming over the top of my thoughts. Meaning there was a ton more that didn't get on the paper. So when you think about the fact that they had to engrave the scriptures, now maybe those ones with quills, the scrolls probably were quills, but these were engraved on plates of metal, you know, brass and gold. I guess gold is pretty soft. And anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm going to get scattered here. What was my point? See, I've lost my point. So I guess, does that mean I leave? Or do I find another point? You know, it's Saturday night. I'm feeling good. Tomorrow's Sunday. I'm still feeling good. I want to read to you guys, and see, I'll be reading to myself too. So I might stop and go ahead and start on Mormon 5. You know, just, you know, if you guys want to listen to me do it, because I'll give you some commentary also, you know, maybe, but usually I've got a lot to say. It just depends on what we're reading, you know, but that's what I was trying to say is, you know, you've got just this little space and you've got to engrave, and then you need to put your thoughts down there. It's not your thoughts because they're recording history, and the sacred things are things that God showed them either in visions or might have been an angel that came to tell him something. That happened in the book of Alma. An angel came and told him the answers, and he told his son. It was during that time where I mentioned it the other day. I need to look those up. He said that he perceived what his son was worried about, which was his sins and where's he going to go after death. And so an angel gave him the answer before he gave it to his son, okay? And I don't remember it all. Yes, I do. That is where he said, everybody, whether you're good or bad, goes back to that God who gave you life. Now, I'm not sure if it says it like I just said it, or if it was the God who created you. Same thing. So, everybody is going back to Jesus, and Jesus is our judge, and Jesus is the God of this earth. So, hey, I would think he's all-knowing. That one scripture, I need to read them. It said, you know, my favorite one, but somewhere in there, maybe right after what my favorite one was, that's 13 and 14 of 1 Nephi. 1 Nephi, chapter 1, verse 13 and 14. Jesus Christ is telling him to lift up his head and be of good cheer, because the sign is going to be given this night. And come I into the world. Come I into the world to fulfill all things which I have caused the prophets to write. Now, see, I'm paraphrasing. I know I don't have my exact words as what I said it before, but it's the same thing, okay? So don't nitpick. You have to go to the actual scripture to get the right words and in the right sequence. But that wasn't even what I was talking about. So right after all that, because that right there is Jesus Christ declaring that he is the God of this earth, okay? He is the one who told the prophets what to say, what to write. He is the one who did a lot of things, guys. But so right after that, you really should go look at that. I should go look at that. Maybe I should go do that right now. I know, don't mix them all up. But I'm going to go to, where am I going to go to? I need to go to 3rd Nephi. I talk to myself a lot. Okay, so here's 3rd Nephi, chapter 1. This is a very important one, guys. And I got to put my glasses on. I know I've said it in a different one, but you know, I have so many videos now, I don't know if you'll ever see them all. Not that you would even try, but you should. Okay, so this is 3rd Nephi. This is a very important book too, because in this book, what's happening in the very, very first chapter, what I just talked about, Jesus is being born, okay? The sign is being given. Now the deal is, Jesus is being born over in Jerusalem, okay? But in the American continent, they know about Jesus. They know he's coming. They know he's coming over there. And they've been waiting for the sign to be given for his birth. When he was born, over in this country, or maybe this hemisphere, however you want to say it, I think I found out correctly. The sign was given of his birth. And what it meant was, when it came nighttime, the sun went down. I think that's what I heard. The sun went down, but it stayed light. Okay? It stayed light all night. So it stayed light for the day, for the night, and for the next day. See, I think the other one I said, I thought it was 3 days, but that makes more sense to me. It's the sign of his birth. Okay, just like the star. Maybe is that the Star of David? Anyway, the new star that happened when he was born. A lot of things happened. Very important. Okay, so I got off the path. The scripture that says, Jesus is the Son because of the flesh, and he's the Father because of something. So what I need to do, I came to look it up, so let's just look it up instead of me trying to paraphrase it here. There it is right there. Okay, so it is in my two verses. I'm just going to go ahead and read you both verses, okay? They're not supposed to be out there making all that noise. I thought maybe everybody was busy, you know, gone for Saturday night. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and add 12. But I've already been telling you what was going on, so no, that doesn't tell you. See, it's good to read the whole thing. I should just read 3rd Nephi chapter 1. But I'm going to read 13 and 14. I'll just start there. And what I've done is, you know, I haven't really told you. What's happening is, the sign was supposed to be given, okay? And there's the believers and the unbelievers. Well, or non-believers, whatever. And these guys are really not liking the believers. And so they have decided that the sign should have been given by now, and they're going to kill them because it hasn't been, okay? So the idea is that the Nephites, I'm going to lose myself. Anyway, the believers are going to get killed by the non-believers. We'll forget which tribe and all that stuff. So this one guy is out praying mightily to the Lord, and I know what that means, praying with all your heart and soul. And he's really praying because they're fixing to be killed, you know. So this is what happens. He's out praying to the Lord. He's been praying all that day. So I'm going to start with 12. And it came to pass that he cried mightily unto the Lord all that day. And behold, the voice of the Lord came unto him, saying, Lift up your head, and be of good cheer. For behold, the time is at hand, and on this night shall the sign be given, and on the morrow come I into the world, to show unto the world that I will fulfill all that which I have caused to be spoken by the mouth of my holy prophets. Here's verse 14. Behold, I come unto my own, to fulfill all things which I have made known unto the children of men from the foundation of the world, and to do the will both of the Father and of the Son. Now here's the part, listen. I'm going to start that again. I'm going to start 14 again, but you listen real good, okay? Behold, I come unto my own, to fulfill all things which I have made known unto the children of men from the foundation of the world, and to do the will both of the Father and of the Son. Of the Father, because of me, and of the Son, because of my flesh. And behold, the time is at hand, and this night shall the sign be given. I could read some more, I guess. And it came to pass that the words which came unto Nephi were fulfilled according as they had been spoken. For behold, at the going down of the sun there was no darkness. And the people began to be astonished, because there was no darkness when the night came. And there were many who had not believed the words of the prophets, who fell to the earth and became as if they were dead. For they knew that the great plan of destruction which they had laid for those who believed in the words of the prophets had been frustrated. For the sign which had been given was already at hand. And they began to know that the Son of God must shortly appear. Yea, in fine, all the people upon the face of the whole earth, from the west to the east, both in the land north and in the land south, were so exceedingly astonished that they fell to the earth. For they knew that the prophets had testified of these things for many years, and that the sign which had been given was already at hand, and they began to fear because of their iniquity and their unbelief. And it came to pass that there was no darkness in all that night, but it was as light as though it was midday. And it came to pass that the sun did rise in the morning again, according to its proper order, and they knew that it was the day that the Lord should be born, because of the sign which had been given. And it had come to pass, yea, all things every whit according to the words of the prophets. And it came to pass also that a new star did appear according to the word. And it came to pass that from this time forth there began to be lines excuse me. There began to be lines sent forth among the people by Satan to harden their hearts, to the intent that they might not believe in those signs. Excuse me. In those signs and wonders which they have seen. But notwithstanding these lyings and deceivings, the more part of the people did believe and were converted unto the Lord. Okay, I'm going to have to stop. I'm sorry. Let's see how far. Yeah, there's... let me get a drink, okay? Okay. All right, here we go. So the more part was converted into the Lord, perceiving the signs, okay? But not everybody. I got hair somewhere. Okay. And it came to pass that Nephi went forth among the people, and also many others, baptizing unto repentance, in the which there was a great remission of sins. And thus the people began again to have peace in the land. And there were no contentions, save it were a few that began to preach, endeavoring to prove by the scriptures that it was no more expedient to observe the law of Moses. Now in this thing they did err, having not understood the scriptures. But it came to pass that they soon became converted and were convinced of the error which they were in. For it was made known unto them that the law was not yet fulfilled, and that it must be fulfilled in every whit. Yea, the word came unto them that it must be fulfilled, yea, that one jot or tittle should not pass away till it should all be fulfilled. Therefore, in the same year were they brought to a knowledge of their error, and did confess their faults. And thus the 92nd year did pass away, bringing glad tidings unto the people, because of the signs which did come to pass according to the words of prophecy of all the holy prophets. I'm sorry if I'm hiding here. And it came to pass that 93rd year did also pass away in peace, save it were the Gadianton robbers who dwelt upon the mountains, who did infest the land. For so strong were their holds in their secret places that the people could not overpower them. Therefore they did commit many murders, and did do much slaughter among the people. I want to stop for a second and just tell you, don't get confused. This is not Mormon, okay? I was reading to you out of the Book of Mormon. Now I'm in 3rd Nephi. This is a whole different book, a whole different bunch of people, and this is the book where Jesus is born, and then when it's time, he's been crucified and resurrected. When he was resurrected, he came over here and met with the people in a land called Bountiful Temple. Anyway, he came here and dwelt with them for a while, and he healed their sick and blessed their children and did all kinds of marvelous things, just like he did in Jerusalem. I'm not sure how long he was here, but it was a good enough time. He chose disciples. He chose 12 over here. He organized his church, I believe, and left it in those guys' hands. He had them check it out, the prints, the nails, the nail prints in his hands and his feet, and I think also the stab wounds in his sides. Anyway, that's in 3rd Nephi, and I'm not sure exactly where that part begins. I'm thinking it might be chapter 11. But what you should do is read the whole book of 3rd Nephi, okay? Start with the first chapter where I'm at. So far I didn't start at the first verse, okay? I started at 13 and 14. But if you read the whole thing, you'll get a bigger picture. And it's not that hard. The Book of Mormon is pretty easy to read if you'll just follow punctuation. Pause whenever there's punctuation. Commas and semicolons and blah, 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 blah. Kind of like learning how to read music. You pause a little bit more, I think, for a semicolon than you do for a comma. You make a separation. And when you do that, you can understand it a lot better. Okay, so where did I stop? Wow, I think that's where I stopped. Yeah, therefore they did commit many murders and did do much slaughter among the people. And see, they didn't have regard for life. And that's kind of what we got going on. We got all these people coming into this country that do not have a regard for life. And they feel no problem killing us. You need to be careful. People don't always let you know what's going on either, you know. They're not, oh, hey, I'm here to kill you. I'm here to do this and that and the other thing. And some people are stupid enough to say that. But anyway, we'll back off of that, okay? But much slaughter among the people. You just remember that. And just remember that this country had major battles, major slaughter. It hasn't always been really nice and peaceful. I mean, I know the war they had on the East Coast, the Civil War, wasn't good either. But I'm just saying, before before this particular group of white men came over here, because really, Lehi and his family were white men. And they came over here. And they became savages. And God cursed them with a red skin. Just like Cain. Cain's descendants were cursed with a black skin so that they could tell them apart. They were not to mix. Now this is in the beginning, okay? Way long time ago. Cain and Abel, the beginning. Adam and Eve, you know? And then Laman and Lemuel, and I guess must be the Ishmaelites too. Savage. That word savage? Red skin. Savage. The American Indians, the native Indians, came from these people. The Lamanites. Well, see, the Lamanites and the Nephites were both probably bloodthirsty, because they had gone through that, and then you kill for revenge, and you just get caught up in it, you know, you probably never get away from it. Anyway, I don't think I've finished this yet, have I? So let me just, let me finish it. Okay, I'm just gonna, okay, slaughter among the people. So, verse 28, and it came to pass that in the 94th year, they began to increase in a great degree, because there were many dissenters of the Nephites. Okay, we're talking about the Gadian robbers increasing, okay? Maybe I better go back up here to 27. They're talking about the Gadian robbers, okay? And then I don't remember when I talked about it, but I was talking about the fact that the Gadian robbers are like the Alibaba. Is it Alibaba? Or is it, it's not Aladdin, but you know, the 40 thieves that came out of the mountain. I just think that's the Gadian robbers. Anyway, you know, they probably had the same thing going on over there and over here, because Satan's involved. Same old, you know, so he's got the same thing going on everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to go back up to 27. Just remember who these Gadian robbers are. They're not nice people. They just go and take what they want and kill whoever's in the way. Okay? And then they go back up to their mountain and hide. And enjoy their plunder. You know, kind of like pirates, I guess. Land pirates. I heard that before. All right, I'm going to shut up. So here's verse 27. I know, I've read it before. I'm going to read it again. And it came to pass that the 93rd year did also pass away in peace. save it were for the Gadianton robbers, who dwelt upon the mountains, who did infest the land. For so strong were their holds and their secret places that the people could not overpower them. Therefore they did commit many murders, and did do much slaughter among the people. And it came to pass that the 94th year they began to increase in a great degree, because there were many dissenters of the Nephites, who did flee unto them, which did cause much sorrow unto those Nephites who did remain in the land. And there was also a cause of much sorrow among the Lamanites, for behold, they had many children who did grow up and began to wax strong in years, that they became for themselves, and were led away by some of the Zoramites, by their lyings and their flattering words, to join those Gadianton robbers. And thus were the Lamanites afflicted also, and began to decrease as to their faith and righteousness, because of the wickedness of the rising generation. That's the end of that. I didn't mean to do that. I should have read that at a different place, but you never know what I'm gonna do. But it started out with my very favorite thing in the Book of Mormon, and that's 3 Nephi chapter 1, verse 13 and 14, where Jesus is declaring he's the God of this earth. It's right there. You see 2 little verses. If you don't go through the book and find them, you'll never know. So, pretty cool. Now, I've already gone over an hour, so I gotta stop. Take good care of yourself. You know that little thing, take good care of yourself, you belong to me. Well, you belong to God. Take good care of yourself. You might not. I know there's a whole bunch of you out there that don't think so. But God is your Father. Like it or not, doesn't really matter. Just as well understand the truth, right? You can put your head in the sand. You can say it ain't true. Doesn't change anything. It just means you don't believe. And it means you're further behind, because sooner or later, you're going to have to catch up. Got it? I know my eyes are shut. Anyway, I love you people. I'm going to try to read some more. I'm having fun. And I haven't done this in a while, so look out for more, okay? Peace out, baby.